Good morning and welcome. It's Sunday. It's my time to talk about CPS. Here we are fighting CPS with Bob Pace, your host. It's a live stream shown around the world, and it's all talking about CPS. Now, what is CPS? A lot of you may have different interpretations, it has lots of different names. I call it the Child Protection System. It's a government entity, and in the United States, it's found in all 50 states, and each state has counties, and each county will have a CPS. Thing is, they have different names. I think there's about 10 names I've heard in my locality, California, because I'm broadcasting from Surf City, USA, south of Los Angeles, and I in a place called Orange County. I'm 3 blocks from the beach, and in Orange County, it's called the Child Protection Services. Next door, which is a large county, is LA County, Los Angeles County. It's called the Department of Children and Family Services. I know in Prescott, Arizona, it's Department of Children's Services, and then in Richmond, Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. But wherever it is, it's a group of social workers from social services that were created back in the 60s by an act of Congress that says we need to protect our children from neglect and abuse. It's something that we've been asking for a long time. It's been over 400 years since I've seen the first reported incident of child abuse or child neglect in our colonies. It was around around the 1600s, where we're just starting to settle in the United States. The Europeans, the first European to recognize or discover America were the Vikings. That was up in Nova Scotia. That was Leif Erikson, who had come from Greenland to Iceland and come ashore. And actually, they tried to live here. They tried to set up a colony stuff, but the indigenous people were very wild wild at the time. And later we had people like the group that came from the Mayflower and then down in Virginia, in Jamestown. Anyway, there's instances all through the 400 years of child abuse and child neglect. And it wasn't until the 60s when we got serious enough to organize it. The Humane Animal Society for Protection of the Cruelty to Animals was started a long time before that. It's like we're more interested in protecting our animals than our children. And the sad part about children, and is that there are neglect and abuse that does happen to them. They've been used in our workforce for a long time. I mean, children have always, in the old days, it was only farming that we had. Children were used to help out the farm. And they've been around for ever and ever and ever. And this agency in the United States investigates abuse and neglect, and they use reporters. There's two kinds of reporters. There's the professional reporter, and then there is the lay person reporter. And how it happens today is when one of these two types of reporters calls in to report neglect or abuse, the agency takes it seriously. Within 24 hours, it has to be investigated. And they take it so seriously that you're guilty until you're proven innocent. It's the only legal matter that you are guilty until you prove it innocent. Usually, every other legal matter, you are innocent till you proven guilty. So, with that in mind, the social workers have a different thing in their mind when they come up to see you. And I hate to say it, it's negative. About 50% of the time, we encounter bad CPS social workers. We also encounter bad police, too. I suspect it's about 50% of the time there too. Uh, I guess it's hard for people that work for these entities, the police or the social services, to be compassionate, understanding, and 100%. I know that we have a new agency that was started in January called DOGE, DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. It was created as one of the campaign promises by our current president. And it was headed up by Elon Musk, and it's investigating all our government agencies. He was only on there for 6 months because that's as long as the term can last. And he able to start in and save us uh, millions of dollars. The goal is to save trillion. It was supposed to be done, I think, in a year. I don't know where they're at right now. I know that they have two phone numbers that you can call in, and I'll try to find them for you. Area code 202 is Washington, D.C. It's directly to the White House. They'll talk to you. They'll help you. And this is that pretty much the last resort. Because to make any changes in our government, we have to go to Congress. Congress is what makes changes to things. And when they did the institute of this organization, the Child Protection System, in the 60s, they didn't have laws until the 70s. And it wasn't until the 80s and 90s and the 2000, and now we're at 2010, 2020. So we've had some decades that went by. We had some decades. And I think the definition of decade is 10 years. So what do you call 100 years? Well, yeah, 10 years. It'd be decades because it'd be the 80s and 90s and 2000 and 2010, and now we're in the 20s. So it's been 5 decades. What's happened is the child protection system has gotten rogue or gone bad. It's all about money. It's $1 trillion business. And they want to get your child because right now in Orange County, they charge $20,000 per child per month to have them in custody. And they get that money and they use it for bonuses and I guess for other things there, but it doesn't cost that much. One child, $20,000 a month. So you can see it's all about money. And so that's why they have it. Their MO is when they have an allegation, you're guilty. And right away, they want to come knocking at your door and surrender your child, search your house, and talk to you. Now, we found out through talking to 2,600 people. That's how many people I've talked to since I started this live stream. I started this live stream 2 years ago. 2 years ago and 5 months, and it was started October of 2023. And during the course of talking to people, and by the way, this is also worldwide broadcast. So I've talked to 30 countries. I have 30 countries and all 50 states. I've talked to someone in those states, sometimes 3 or 4 people in the states. And I'm glad that you found me. Um, and we have people that come and go. We have some people in the room now. Good morning and welcome. I'm here talking about the start of CPS and give some historical background. One thing I do want to do is if you want to say something or ask a question, a comment, or ask a question, please do so. I'd love for you all to talk to me and ask questions so I can help you. It doesn't cost you any money and it's free. And I'm a very knowledgeable father. I have raised 6 children, and all 6 of them, I really very happy to say, are doing well in society. They have jobs, they're self sufficient, and they have children. So I have grandchildren. And I've been around for 76 years as a dinosaur. I'm a fossil, but I don't feel that old and I don't seem to run that old and so forth. I've been working for 61 years and I have a lot of life skills, a lot of life skills, things that can help you in other areas besides CPS. But I concentrate on helping you and help you with 5 rules that I wish I had known and I would never have lost my children. I too had a case. It started shortly after my job I lost. I'm not sure the right time, but I lost my job in 2010. And it was a couple years later that I started getting complaints from CPS. They started coming out to my place, knock on the door. At that time, I did not know you're not supposed to open the door or talk to them. But I had nothing to hide, and whatever they were asking, I seemed to satisfy them. They were saying that we weren't feeding the children, we weren't bathing the children. It's funny. I'm an educated man, and I have 43 years of marriage experience. And this is all happening to me in my golden years. This is the time you're supposed to enjoy life. And, my idea of enjoying life has been just the opposite. This has been the worst 15 years of my life, seesawing between jobs and trying to fight this agency, this child protection system agency that's so corrupt. And the stories I've heard are terrible. They're terrible, terrible stories. So anyway, this live stream is broadcast right away on Facebook Reel. I was really surprised the other day to see it. So you get to hear me again on Facebook Reel. Also, it's recorded. So if you look up Fight CPS, I will appear. There are 7 rooms that tie into this live stream. 7 Facebook rooms and 1 YouTube room. And so that's 8 rooms that people are drawn here. And I really like to help you. But in order for me to help you, you have to ask me a question or be a guest on my show. Now, to talk on my show, to type something in or ask a question or make a comment, all you need to do is you give me your first name and where you're located, and then I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question. Now, right now, I have the comments being shown. So you can read them just as when I see them. They're the same way there. Now, the rules are quite simple. We do not use profanity in this room, and we certainly don't want to have any politics or any, what can you say, animosity among people. This is supposed to be a friendly room with respect. And please show respect when you're in here. So whether you're from the United States or from one of the 30 countries, and some of these countries have been the provinces of Canada, and then we go to Great Britain, it's been England, Scotland, Wales, and recently I'm talking this past week to a Stuart in Scotland who's even emailed me and wants to be on the show and talk and more. She is a mother that's had her children taken, and she has another predicament, another problem. She's just got pregnant while she has a CPS case. You don't want to be pregnant when you're in CPS's hands because they will take the baby if the baby's in imminent danger. That's another thing too. If I bounce around a little bit, it isn't because I'm trying to do a different flavor to the live stream. So it's not the same repetitious and so boring. But when you're in CPS's custody, you're not supposed to have any more children. You're not supposed to get pregnant. Now, I know that's hard to do because it does happen. Whether you take the best methods, whether it's abstinence or some form of birth control, it does happen. But CPS is very strange. They said you're not going to get pregnant because if you get pregnant, we'll take your baby. So the girl from Scotland has asked me what to do. She's pregnant and she doesn't want to know what to do. Now, you wonder why we're talking to people around the world. Well, That's the way the live stream was set up. It was set up by my attorney that I worked for. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He has a law firm in Arcadia, which is in LA County, California. And he wants to be open to help all people. Right now, there are a lot of you that are wondering around what to do. And when you try to talk to somebody, they want $150, 200, whatever the price is to talk to you. And a lot of you don't know about getting an attorney or a lawyer. And that's why Mr. Davis is here, because he will help you. He has a law firm, he has law practice, and he has over going on 40 years of fighting CPS, has won thousands of cases. He's one of the big time attorneys because he's schooled and trained in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. And he's also a criminal attorney because he can do trials, and he's a civil rights attorney. So he's got 5 areas that he can work in. Plus, he has other attorneys, law firms that talk about immigration and about workman's comp and all kinds of different evictions and things like that. So, complete law firm. By the way, his number is 888-888-6582. It's being transmitted as a ticket down below. You'll see a disclaimer that what I'm giving you is not lawyer advice. It's for educational purposes. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. But I've been doing this now for a couple years. I've been fighting CPS for over 15 years. So I have a lot of experience, firsthand experience, and also from talking to people. And I can and will help you. It may take a couple sessions here because I'm on 3 times a day, by the way. I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then again at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and 6 o'clock in the evening. Those are all Pacific Standard Time. If you're on the East Coast, you're 3 hours ahead of me. Central, you're 2 hours ahead. And in England, you're 8 hours ahead. In Europe, you're 9. Africa, you're 9, so forth. Now, besides the Great Britain area, I've also heard from European countries there on what they call their mainland Europe there. I go into Africa, there's several countries there. And then we go to India and Bangladesh, and Indonesia, and Australia, New Zealand. And I can't forget Alaska or Hawaii. So it's well-versed, a lot of nice people, and a lot of people that are really struggling. You know, I talk to a lot of people that are homeless. I talk to a lot of people that are down and out. They have also criminal matters. I try my best to help you and steer you in the right direction. But it's very important. The key to success in any kind of legal matter, including the child protection system, is having a lawyer. And I'll talk more about that through my show, because I'm here to help you sign up with Mr. Davis or any other attorney that you may want to go to. It's legal advice for free here. And it's one way I can talk to you all and help you. Now, as I mentioned, that this particular agency has gone bad, and it has. It's really sad to say it has gone bad. And I know in my case it did, and in other people it has too. A lot of you have been here and then gone on to with Mr. Davis and fought and won your case. I won my case when I hired Mr. Davis. But it was a miserable experience because part of it, I waited so late to hire an attorney. And I strongly recommend that you don't. I also ordered a finance attorney. I had to lose my forever home. Yeah, it seems like I'm doing my life backwards. I don't know why. I was very successful growing up. I got educated. I have a degree in marine biology. I teach a teaching credential in secondary education. And I have a lot of other experiences. Now, who am I? Well, I've already told you how old I was. I've already told you how long I've been working. I'm a family man, and I've mentioned to you I've raised 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls, very successful. And I have 43 years of marriage experience. And it's been tough with those 43 years. But I'm determined to get back on track because I had a big hiccup. And so I'm glad to be back working for Mr. Davis. I took some time off in December, and in January, came back the latter part of February. But so far, since I've been back on February 28th, I did my first show at my old time at 7 p.m., and then I've continued on with 3 shows a day for the past week. I've already put in 7 days. This is now my 8th day that I've done these live streams. And it's starting to pile up, but that's why I'll talk a little bit differently for each one because I want to make sure it's different. And we do cover a lot of different things. We do cover a lot of different things. Now, I know today is a very important day. It's a day that we pray and go to church. So I'll be doing it shortly after the show. Because one thing I do have is faith in God, and that does help me out. It does help me out. It really does. And with life, I look like us that we're on a train, and it's a circle of life. Yes, life is in a circle. That came out of the Lion King. That's where I got the circle of life. And on a train riding on railroad tracks, I got it from Polar Express about a boy that still believes in Santa Claus and takes a train. So I've incorporated the circle life of the train on your travels in life. And there are 2 rails. The left rail is your circle of life. That's where you're trying to go from time to time. But there's also a right rail. And my goal, and everybody is I want to go to heaven. So I have to go to heaven. And in order to get to heaven, you have to have God forgive your sins. We all have sins. And connected to 2 rails is strong ties. These are wooden ties. Each tie to me represents a good deed. I try to, and that's one of the reasons why I do this live stream, do a good deed every day. I learned that in the Boy Scouts. I have over 50 years in the scouting organization. No longer called the Boy Scouts, it's called Scouts, because they now have incorporated ladies into the scouting program. Girls can join uh, the Scouts. So I've done 50 years as a scout and as a adult leader. I've been involved in scouting. So that's a long time. I've also done 50 years in with the American Red Cross, either in the forms of helping out, doing menial tasks like packing care packages and things like that in my early years, to teaching, swimming, and first aid, and small craft and sailing, to doing disaster work, helping out with disaster in the form of a shelter manager, a caseworker, or recon and things like that, or at different disasters, whether they're hurricanes in Guam, or fires up in Malibu, or earthquake in Northridge, or floods in Long Beach. I've worked a lot of disasters. I had one that was an airplane crash in Cerritos, and I was the director of operations. Anyway, I have also served on the board of directors with the American Red Cross. I've been on the board of directors with the American Red Cross. So that's my volunteering time. I also have another sport. I love sports. I love sports, especially football and rugby and soccer. But surfing has been my primary sport since age 7, so I have a lot of experience with surfing. I've run organizations, being the president of a lot of really good organizations, nationally and internationally. I've organized some of the earliest surfing contests. I'm a pioneer. I've worked with a lot of beautiful people in the surfing world, and it's been a very beautiful experience to me. I'm still a surfer. I still need to get my gills wet, and so that's a little bit more about me. So you see that I've even done some public service where I was on the mayor of Los Angeles Blue Ribbon Task Force, working with CEOs for a year. That was an interesting job. And besides working as an ocean lifeguard, I've also worked as a marine animal trainer, a marine biologist, a manager of a seafood restaurant, and I have worked also as a civil engineer, roads and construction, heavy highway roads and construction. So I do have a lot of experience there, a lot of experience. And thank you for the thumbs up, whoever put that up. I appreciate emojis. Thumbs up, hearts, smiley faces are really good. I would like to, whoever's in the room, to ask me questions because it makes me help this live stream a lot better. If I sit here and talk the whole hour, it can be very, very dry sometimes, especially if you listen to me all the time. Now, I have regular people. I have over 50 people that come here regularly that I've met over the years, and some have stayed in touch. Just the other day, I saw Happy Feet from Arizona, who is a uh, American Indian, Native American Indian. That's another area that I help out is American Indians because I have a lot of interest in that. That's my hereditary. My great great grandmother was Lakota Sioux from the Rosebud Reservation. And the Indians have finally got something that protects them. It happened in 1978 called ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act. And I can talk to you about that because our American Indians are dying out. I've heard reports from 50 to 100 people left, 50,000 to 100,000 left of true Indian blood, 100% Indian blood, not 20. I only have 25%. Only have 25%. And probably wondering, well, what's that Indian with blonde hair? Lakota Sioux, blonde hair? Well, my great great grandmother, who's a Lakota Sioux, was married to a Viking. He's from Bergen, Norway. Bergen, Norway is where my Viking blood is from. And my great great grandfather came and he had, I guess, has been married several times. I think he only had one wife at a time, but his last wife was a Lakota Sioux. And I've been trying to learn all I can because the Native American Indians didn't have much ways in writing books or computers or those kinds of things. And I really, got interested in that when I started seeing the American Indian movements in the late 60s and 70s, especially the Wounded Knee, the second Wounded Knee incident. The first one and the second one are just as bad, just as bloody. And again, I'm not here to talk about it. I can talk a lot about the Native American Indians. I just learned the other day that the top 5 tribes, the Lakota Sioux's at number 1 position. The Choctaw is number 5. The Comanche and Apache are, I think, 3 and 4, and I left out one other, the Cheyenne. Those were the top fighting Indian tribes. But there's 585 or 584 federal recognized Native American tribes. That's a lot of tribes, a lot of Indians. The sad part is that most of them are in very poor conditions. If you go to the Rosebud Reservation, it's one of the lowest income places in the United States. There's the Standing Rock Indian Reservation a little bit north, uh, near the Black Hills. The Black Hills is the Lakota Sioux's home that was promised, and it wasn't into the sometime in the 2000s that they recently wanted to help them out and pay back the money that they stole from them for the land. But the Lakota Sioux to this day have not given in and surrendered the Black Hills, where the famed presidents of Mount Rushmore are. Anyway, that's enough about Indians. We didn't come here to talk about Indians. We came to talk about your case. And in order for you to do it, I need some questions or comments. It's kind of quiet this morning. Sunday usually is. Usually it's my regulars that come in. And where are you guys? I've had 3 or 4 of you come in, but right now I have nobody in at the moment. To talk about, let me see if I can switch gears here. We can talk about uh, the lawyer part, because that's the most key part to it. As I mentioned, you need a lawyer that's experienced in dependency law. That's what CPS is, it's dependency law. A lot of people don't know it. It also has a mixture of family law and juvenile law. Because you're dealing with children under 18, it's juvenile law. Families is the other area of expertise. But one of the saddest part I've seen now by talking these last couple of years is that people don't get attorneys soon enough. And like my case, it was the same way. And a lot of reasons are they don't really realize it. One of the things that can help finance getting you an attorney is something is to get money up front, because you need money to hire an attorney. They're all going to ask for a retainer. Now, there's 3 types of attorneys. There's your attorneys that you pay, then there's the court-appointed attorneys, and then there is the pro bono attorneys. I've grouped all attorneys, whatever area of expertise they are, into 3 types. Now, the paid attorney, of course, is the best, but not necessary, because you can get some bad paid attorneys and waste a lot of money. And finding an attorney is very hard, very hard. But luckily, we have the internet and we have search engines. We have recently new search engines from AI. One of them started with Chat GPT, and then there's a group on X that used to be Twitter that Elon Musk has come up with. Then there's other AIs that are popping up all other places. Anyway, if you research the internet, you'll find a lot of the answers, a lot of things that I've done. I've done a lot of research. In fact, you need to spend, one of my rules is that you spend, hundreds of hours researching your case. Because the more you discover, the better off you'll be able to fight your case. But a lot of people don't know how to ask questions using search engines. And the way that works best for me is you start off with the city and the state. And if you're outside the United States, you put your city and country. Then you put the letters in the all caps CPS, right after the state or country. And you will get a lot of things will pop up in that particular area about CPS. But if you want to filter it further, then you put down for instance, a dependency law, family law, juvenile law, attorney, and a lot of attorneys will pop up. You change it, to something else like what is the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978? That will pop up. You can do the same thing for other subject matters, like how does the CPS case start? So you say, how to say the word, How does a case start? Right after the letter CPS. And what are the steps? You got to keep in mind there's no standardization among CPS. That's one of the downfalls. Every county runs it differently, and every county has pros and cons and consistency. And a lot of you are low income, and that's not your fault. A low income person is not a bad person. Unfortunately, you hit your down in, now your luck. I mean, you got to think about it. The United States has been always immigrants, including the Native American Indians. They're the first immigrants. They came over from Asia to the land bridge that connected Asia to Alaska, and then settled in Alaska, and then settled in the Canada area, which they're called the First Nation. And the Eskimos are in Alaska, and the Native Indians are in the United States. Then we got other indigenous tribes, and the word indigenous mean uh, uh, people that are indigenous mean are native to the land. They're the first. We Europeans are not indigenous to the United States. But once we're born here in the United States, we are Native Americans. We're not Indians, but we're Native Americans. And this first group that settled were proud people. And their way of life was complicated because we had the Europeans. First, it was the Vikings. Then came people from England and Scotland and Wales and Ireland and Norway and Sweden and Denmark and Holland and Belgium and France and Portugal and Spain and Switzerland. I can't forget, there's so many different countries that came there, that immigrated here to the United States. And they settled the land and they worked the land, and a lot of them, most people start off as farmers. But we have other trades that had to go along with farming. And as small farms grew into cities and cities grew into mega cities, things saved, and we kind of developed fast. Europe really developed fast through the ages. Now, a lot of people thought Christopher Columbus, and this is in the old days, was taught in school up into, I guess it was the 60s when they finally changed or corrected it. But he discovered a Caribbean island in the Caribbean, and he called the indigenous people Indians, and that's where the name Indians came from. A lot of people don't know that. So, with the word Indian, it comes from Christopher Columbus, who labeled indigenous people in the Caribbean islands. And that went on to people in North America because at that time they thought that the Caribbean islands were part of North America. That's a good debate, because, there's Mexico that separates, but Mexico is part of North America because Central America starts after Mexico. So there's some debate that Christopher Columbus still was on North America, but maybe we need to clarify the people that discovered or landed in what was the land part of North America were the Indians, followed by the Vikings, then followed by the I think it'd be the English are next. I think the English next because we have the Mayflower at Plymouth. And then we have Jamestown in Virginia, and that was English. So I do think the English were next after the Vikings. But anyway, you probably wonder what that's got to do with CPS. Well, there's lots of stories over the years and stuff, and it takes us up to where we're at now. I have a gentleman here named David Hilago that has come in here for a long time. And he was fighting the situation regarding his daughter. His daughter, I think, is 10 now, maybe at 9 when this case got started. But he's a single dad. I don't know what happened to the mother. I don't know if she died or they divorced, whatever it is. But he's raising 2 children, which is typical of divorce. Sometimes families, mothers and fathers raise the kids by themselves. A lot of times it's the mothers. I think more mothers are single moms than more dads. But the sad part of where he was is that family members were using CPS to try to take away his daughter from him. He was wrongfully accused of improper behavior with his daughter. He also has a son, too, he was raising. Meanwhile, CPS jumped in, and just because of hearsay, they thought the daughter was in imminent danger and took the child. He didn't know as much, but he did know about coming to the show, and he got an attorney. Now, he's one of about 10 people that have turned on to Mr. Davis. Approximately 10 people. And Mr. Davis became his attorney. He fought, and just recently, in the last couple of weeks, he was found not guilty. The case is over, and the daughter is being reunified within 45 days. But the reunification is going to be taking some time because the daughter is damaged. She now has to come back to her dad. And she's been brainwashed and thinking that her dad did something wrong. Anyway, they're supposed to start visits again. But it's a tough thing out there. It really is a tough thing. And I really feel for you. But I did help David. He was on my show asking a lot of questions. And Mr. Davis was excellent as attorney representing him. So you cannot go wrong using Mr. Davis. Now, Mr. Davis does cost money. As I told you, he's in LA County. His office is in Arcadia. His retainer for LA County is approximately, I don't say guarantee, but it's $5,000. And his hourly rate is approximately $550 an hour. Now, attorneys in this field charge anywhere from $200 an hour to $1,000 an hour. The retainers can be anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000. So he's in the middle of the road, but he's well worth it because he has a lot of years. He's one of the top ones. He does a lot of live streams all over the place. You can call the office at 888-888-6582, and he will help you. He will help you. Also, the office will help you too. Make sure when you call into the office, you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. That way they know who you are. And then on top of that, make sure when you speak to Mr. Davis, you said, I talked to Bob Pace on the show, and he told me to talk to you. And he will. He will talk to you there. He'll set up a time and work out the details with you. Because I think he has a consultant fee. I don't know what the fee is lately, but it is reasonable. Legal is an area of expertise that people don't realize that you need a lawyer. Now, if you're going to get open heart surgery, you're not going to have a layperson do it for you. And it's not going to be cheap. It's covered by your medical insurance. Well, a lot of people don't think about legal insurance. There is such a thing as legal insurance. I found companies that can quote legal insurance just like life insurance, pet insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, appliance repair insurance, car part repair insurance. I think I said life insurance, yeah, and pet insurance. There's so many different kinds of insurances that you can spend a lot of money with insurances. But as you know from experience, if you get a car accident, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to repair it. Or if it's your fault, you're going to have to pay thousands of dollars. So that's why we have insurance. It's supposed to help you with the big bill. Well, it's hard to come up with $5,000 retainer or even a 2,500. It's hard to come up with a couple $100 or $500 an hour attorney fees. So if you have insurance, it will take care of it. You may have other matters than child protection system. You may have a DUI, or your child may have a DUI, a teenager. That is a really serious offense, and that takes a really good lawyer to get a good settlement. It's serious because sometimes people are killed because of it. But there's also other legal matters too that can come up. Someone gets hurt on your property. That's why we have homeowners insurance and liability insurance. Liability is another area of insurance. So yes, you can spend over, a couple $100 a month with insurance premium. And again, it's hard. Today is really hard. We are faced with economic hard times. We also have a war going on. I guess it's called a war. It's not declared war. It's a different kind of war. I mean, we've had Ukraine for 4 years fighting Russia because Russia stepped in and wanted their land back. They're trying to rebuild the old Soviet Union. They want the USSR. And all those countries after World War II, were a part of the USSR, the Soviet Union. But during Reagan's administration, the president there, it broke down. And so these countries have all broken away. But now we got an individual who's an ex-KGB that is so mysteriously able to get people convinced that what he's doing is right. And it's wrong. And so it's wrong because it's not a military war. Yes, soldiers are fighting. But one side is doing military fighting. The other side is trying to kill civilians. They're trying to use the ploy where if you kill civilians, the other side will quit or kill those civilians. I mean, that's the whole point. That's what they're doing right now. We attacked a country that for 40 or 50 years that has been nothing more than killing, and not thousands, but tens of lots of people. I mean, just recently in January, there's over 30,000 people that were killed because they rose up against the government because they want to have food on their table. They want to be able to live and take care of their families. The Middle East is really rough. The countries there are poor countries and rich countries. They all got their money from oil, and oil came from dinosaurs. And people don't realize that the Middle East used to be a jungle, just like the Sahara Desert in Africa used to be a jungle. And when the climate changed, it changed certain areas. And that's what's happening now. People don't realize that climate changing has been going on since the start of Earth. It's just that we're more noticeable of it, I guess. We try to protect our ozone layer, but gases do eat at the ozone layer, which is the layer that protects us from the sun. Anyway, again, those are life skills that I can talk about. But this was getting back to me of how the child protection children started. So we have all these years, and we have the ICWA. That was a law that basically says that if you're a Native American Indian or have heritage of a Native American Indian, and most of the time it's 25%. Some tribes may differ. You have to check with your tribe. But you need to be registered with that tribe. That means you need to be recognized that tribe that you are an Indian. You're an Apache, a Comanche. your Lakota Sioux, you know, your Navajo. There's so many different tribes. Chumash, which is in California. Um, you got to be recognized, and if you are, then the tribe takes care of your CPS matter. When CPS comes out, and they come out to a lot of poor areas. In the past, they just taken the Indian child, never returned them, because that started in the 1870s when Indians were being put on reservations, and that they were then um, children were hauled away, haircut, lifestyle change, no longer can wear the Indian clothing or practice the Indian way of life. They were trying to inseminate, and they thought they started with children because they're easier to start with. That after they get rid of their customary thing to be just like everybody else, Europeans. Um, and I guess I'm talking about Europeans, but they'll be like Americans because we're Americans. People that live in Europe are Europeans, and Americans are people that live here. They're born here. We're all Americans. And I wish we'd recognize that we're all Americans. Now, I've been talking for you for 51 minutes. That's a long time. And I've had no questions. I've had people coming and going, and one emoji, and I thank that there. But hopefully, that people listen to my show will come back again. I'm on 3 times a day at 8 o'clock in the morning, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 7 o'clock in the evening. 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. And those times are all Pacific Standard Time. I'm on the west coast of California. And I'm here to help you with your CPS matter. And I was talking about David Halago earlier. He's from Santa Maria. His case was in Santa Barbara. Vincent Davis was an attorney. He just recently got his child back. And he comes in here. He was in here the other day. He's been in here, I think, twice this past week. And that's nice because he wants to fight CPS. I do too. One of the things I really like to see happen is that we have a meeting with Congress. And we go before the representatives and senators and tell them how bad CPS now, and they need to revamp it. They need to revamp it. Children should not be automatically taken. That is the MO right now. Also, they need to have a watchdog. All organizations need watchdogs. They need to have checks and balances. Right now, there's a case in Richmond, Kentucky. Over $1 million was embezzled. And they don't know who. And so far, they found 600,000 was a social worker that works for the CPS system, the cabinet in Richmond, Kentucky. The other $400,000 is still trying to find. There's so much corruption. I mean, all you have to do is look at the story about the pink ladies in Prescott, Arizona. These pink ladies weren't pink themselves. They wore T-shirts. They're social workers. All of them are women. There was 8 women and 1 man and a director. So there was 10 people in the Department of Children Services, DCS. And they decided one day to buy T-shirts. And they decided to label on the T-shirts on the front that they're professional child kidnappers. And on the back of the T-shirts, they put, "Parents, do you know where your children are at?" And what made it bad is they paraded around in public with these T-shirts, sending the wrong kind of message to parents. Well, that didn't sit too well, especially if you're in Best Buys or Target or Sears or Kmart or J.C. Penney's or May Company or Walmart or Costco. And it was these parading around, strutting around thing that sent a bad image about the child protection system in Prescott, Arizona. Now, this is one of thousands of stories. I have stories for each state, there's so many horrific things. So they were fired because that's the wrong message you're sending out to the public. Not only were the 8 women fired that wore the pink t-shirts, the director was fired. No one left was a man who then had to handle all the phone calls and all the problems that go with it, the investigation, the caseload. You'd imagine one individual handling that many people and everything there. It was sad. Now, I don't know what it is now. This was a couple years ago, but I'm using an example of how bad CPS can be. I'm not trying to pick on the agencies I know that are bad, like the Department of Family Services here, LA County, or the Child Protection Services in Orange County, or the area in San Bernardino or Riverside are bad, or up in Santa Barbara County. It seems like all these counties have something in common. They want, as soon as they hear a story, they think it's true, and they label that family and they take away their child. Now, I'm open to any social worker who wants to come and dispute that with me. You would think that social workers listen to me, and I know that they do. And I've only had one. Her name was, I forgot what her name was, but she was from Maryland. And she called about a year ago, and she was appalled to hear what I was saying. Now, she had a college degree, which is very unusual, and it was in social services, which is very unusual. She also had a second degree in child psychology. You know, she had a psychology degree. You need psychology. It was a master's. Plus, she said she had 6 months of training. Now, most of the workers here have very little training. Luckily, if they didn't have a high school education. These are other things I like to see changed. I think all social workers need to have a criteria that best helps them do their job. A degree in social services is a good degree. A good degree. Also, a secondary degree, a master's. I think if you're going to be taking care of families, you got to have 2 degrees, and you got to be mentoring with somebody. Not only training, but you got to be mentoring with somebody. And I think you have to mentor with somebody for at least a year, because it goes back to my analogy. If you need open heart surgery, you need a doctor, and doctors go through a lot of training. They go through residency, they are mentored, before they open up the heart and work on the heart. Well, the same thing goes true for CPS. And they need that additional training. Now, I have about 2 minutes left, and I do have to wrap up the live stream because my show has a video at the end that you need to watch. It's a good one. It'll set your spirits high. Maybe the video will help out the people that watch this live stream later. I don't see any people. We've had no comments. This is one of the rare times I've had no comments in here. So hopefully I'll have comments when it runs on Reels or later on. But I'll be on again at 1 p.m. this afternoon, and then again at 6 p.m. This evening. Those are my show times. It's all Pacific Standard Time. I want to thank all of you listening, but don't give up. If you're at a point where you are just so frustrated, come on to my show. It's free. All you have to do is ask me a question or make a comment, and I can help you. I have someone coming in at the last minute. I always have my regulars show up at the tail end of my show, but I do have to go because I have to keep on my schedule here. So God bless y'all, and it was nice talking. And this is Bob Pace signing off and telling you to have a great morning.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last one.